The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You're listening to the Sports Scramble podcast, where four friends serve up a weekly plate of sports with a side of SEC bias. Now, here are your hosts, Chet, Jacob, Wade, and Tyler.
Let's go!
Welcome in, everybody, to this week's episode of the Sports Scramble podcast, brought to you by our friends over at Belly Up Sports. Your host, Chet. We got Wade and Tyler. We're missing Jacob. Backed out last seconds. Got some grade A high school men's golf up in North Mississippi, where he's standing in the 30-degree rain and sleet to coach his team up. So we wish you luck, Jacob. Kick butt out there. But, guys, how was y'all's weekend?
Pretty good. Hoping Jacob can bring back a trophy.
Yeah, that's what we need, a new background of him. Just a trophy instead of the guitar that he's got on his wall. So
that would be pretty nice if he got it done in his, I guess not his rookie season, but his first full-time season.
Yeah, he won a few of them in his day. So we'll see if he can get it done and then come back and take us on in the whack way. We'll see if we can finally beat him this time. But we got plenty to talk about. We got some World Series games going on. The Rangers are up 3-0. I don't know if y'all saw that game one, but 11th inning. I think it was Corey Seager that hit the walk-off in the 11th inning.
Yeah, he had another one today.
Yeah.
Garcia had the walk-off.
Seager tied it up, and then Adolis. I mean, he has just been on fire this postseason.
That's just insane. I mean, everything that can go right for him has, give the man, I don't know what kind of contract he's on, if he's up for an extension, but based on just the postseason alone, the dude needs a raise. I think he set the record for most RBIs in the postseason. But it's looking like, the Rangers are up 3-0 in the bottom of the third. You think they get it done, guys, or are we still feeling the Diamondbacks, Tyler? What do you think?
I don't know. This is a tough series. I know it's 3-0 right now, so that's definitely huge. The winner of Game 3s usually go on to win the World Series. I think that the Rangers get it done. I think that their pitching is starting to come together. You know, their bullpen was definitely not good during the regular season, but Leclerc, he's definitely been their closer, Aroldis Chapman. So I think that the Rangers get it done. I'll say in 6.
Okay. Scherzer's pitching today, and he's looking much better this time around than he did last time against the Astros, especially with a lead. 1 walk, 1 K, not bad. I'm going with the Rangers. I'm not flipping. I think it's in Arizona, but if anything from the Astros series, the road team seemed to win, so they steal away 2 wins here. I'd love to see a Game 7. Right, Game 7s are the best. In any sport. Got NBA starting up. Game 7s happen all the time over there. But Wade, what do you think? You flipping your bet? You putting money on the Diamondbacks? You're going to stick with the Texas boys?
I just think the Rangers bats are too good right now, and I think that this Texas Rangers team was built for World Series expectations in the preseason. They spent a lot of money on this roster. And they have the star power to get it done, whereas Arizona is more of a feel-good story that, happened to make the playoffs with some really good young players, and I think they'll be back and can contend with the Dodgers in the West going forward. But I think that this is definitely the Rangers series. They're built to win it now. It was great that Arizona stole 1 game in Texas, but I think the Rangers will take 2 of 3 in Arizona and then clean it up at home in Game 6.
Okay. So we got 2 Game 6s and Game 7. I'm rooting for Game 7 just because, like I said, I like Game 7s. And basketball's back. I totally missed that last week when we were talking. Tyler, how many games does Zion play this year?
I think that he plays. I think that he plays, more than half of the season. BI is already out. He had knee soreness tonight. They're playing the Warriors. So we'll see. It's all about health for this Pelicans team to really reach their potential.
Yeah, they've made the playoffs, or the play-in, I should say. And it's always been the stars are out. and we've had the young guys shine. So it'll be interesting to see what Zion can do. We'll maybe have to get you and Wade down to some games, some live sports scramble coverage at the Pelicans games, and go from there. But it's I mean, I saw Dylan Brooks for the Rockets get absolutely clowned by Steph Curry last night. I haven't watched any basketball games, just the highlights. And I mean, he had him in like a spin cycle. Dude couldn't even move. Looked like Wade playing basketball at the UREC. I mean, it was just Dylan Brooks hasn't talked much since. Let's put it that way. He's usually out
And
there.
that takes a lot for him.
Yeah, I mean, did you see the first game when he was on the court, like staring down the other team, warming up, and they got beat by 35? Like, I don't know. He thinks he's a villain, right? But he's a villain in his own mind. He's not actually a villain in anybody else's mind. So.
Did y'all see the courts that they unveiled for all the teams for the in-season tournament?
I did.
Oh
Yes.
my-
What is it?
A lot of
Oh
paint.
my
A lot of
God.
paint.
Okay.
They basically took every
looks like
team's
straight off a
primary
Tuesday.
color and made it the entire color of the court. And then it's got the trophy enlarged, taking up the entirety of the paint.
Let's see. NBA courts. Search on the Twitter machine. What the heck?
They went big and bold.
It's like
How are they
pro-am
going to do
courts.
this?
And
Aren't the tournaments like are they all around the league, or are they at one spot?
no,
No, they're regular season games, I think.
it's pretty much like a pool play. So like
Okay.
it's like pretty. I think it's gonna be starting in November, and it's just like whoever wins, I think wins like a player gets like 50,000 each is what I think it is.
What?
Yeah,
It's just a tournament for money? It's just
Yeah.
like a pickup game?
yeah, pretty much.
It's
Just
a
like an
2K
added
on-
bonus. Whoever wins gets
It should
money.
be for an extra first round pick.
That's what I was about to say, or like a guaranteed 1 seed in the playoff if you win the play-in tournament or the in-season tournament, just out of nowhere. It could be the worst team in the league, but they are guaranteed to make the playoffs and be a 1 seed. That's pretty wild. So
That
you're
would be
telling me
interesting. Have
they're-
a guaranteed, like, guarantee him to be like the 5 seed or something, you know?
Yeah, I'm looking. I mean, the Pelicans court is neon green and purple. Like,
Yeah, they're doing a voodoo.
they're gonna paint that for this. How long does this tournament last?
I think it's like only a couple of weeks.
So they're gonna redo. That's pretty crazy.
Well, they're gonna have multiple courts.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's pretty wild. I'm getting distracted looking on Twitter, all this stuff about LSU's players being out. We'll talk about that for the Bama game, but that's gonna be interesting. And then the winner gets some extra cash, lying around cash for the NBA players. Well, but I didn't watch much sports this week, and we had some friends in town. My Whoop recovery was an 11% yesterday morning, so I just kind of laid on the couch. We actually watched some Halloween movies and flipped on the Saints game, expecting to see a blowout. Boom. Saints finally get a win, Tyler. Yeah, Matty Ice won't get one of your rants tonight, but what'd you think about the Saints game? You happy to see our boys get a win?
Yeah, it didn't look good in the first half. They were down by 10, and the defense could not stop Jonathan Taylor or Zach Moss. I know that you asked us who should we start, either Zach Moss or Cam Akers. Well, both
Akers
of
did score.
both of them got a touchdown, so it worked out. And,
Pretty similar
Zach Moss got more yardage, but yeah, definitely the best game of the Saints offense. Pete Carmichael definitely schemed it up. A lot of deep shots to Rashid Shaheed. Olave is in an absolute slump. That man should have absolutely
The dude's getting hit in the face.
off of it. Yeah, it doinked off of his helmet. But yeah,
They
this
didn't
was
even call
definitely-
that a drop on
Yeah, it should be.
the stat log.
But yeah, definitely best game for Derek Carr. Alvin Kamara. I mean, of course, the one dang year that I draft him, he doesn't get any touchdowns, and then the year you draft him, he's scoring buku of touchdowns. So good for you. But yeah, definitely a great win. And looking at your next two opponents, you're facing the Bears with a guy that's
easy win.
coming out of D2, and then you have a Kirk Cousinless Minnesota Vikings team. So you'll see if you can go 3-0 heading into the bye week and stay on top of the NFC South race. So they could definitely play their way back in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, have we played Atlanta yet this year?
No, we'll play
Okay,
them
so-
in the first week coming out of the bye.
Yeah, so Atlanta's number 1 in the NFC South right now, so that's a must win, right? And it seems like from a team perspective, the Saints are much better than the Falcons. Like, let's be honest, we have more talent. We have I was hating on Derek Carr. He's a better quarterback than Desmond Ritter, who doesn't throw it to Kyle Pitts, who Arthur, what's his name? Arthur Smith, is that their head coach?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a top 10 drafted tight end on the field, and you put in your second, third string, and you run a trick play with your third string, throwing it to the second string tight end. And I started him in fantasy. So Kyle Pitts is sitting the bench. I gave him a chance. He got like 7 points.
Looks like you need Mr. Janu then.
Well, I'm not going to tell you. Well, what league am I trying to pick up? I'm not going to tell you until after the waivers. You'll find out who I'm going after.
I already have Janu on my team, so
I've got something working in the waiver picks for a tight end spot. But
I know what you're going to do. You're going to Taysom Hill and use a cheater tight end.
Exactly. I feel
I
like I
remember
should
that
be
one
allowed
year
to do
where
that.
he's like whatever I had him. I think it was like the year that I won. I put him in as a tight end spot, and he was the starting quarterback in that one game. It was absolutely great. He got me 20 plus points in that game.
Yeah,
that should not be allowed.
ESPN made him a quarterback, and then they switched it back. So you do what you do. I suffered.
He should be listed as a running back.
He should have his own
flex.
He should have his own designation
flex
in fantasy.
Is still a tight end. Well, I guess if they list him as a flex, you can't start him in the tight end spot.
Like, I'm just saying, like, call him a flex.
Yeah. Or he should start in place of your defense because he also gets tackles. You should give him the points for the defense.
And also gets special teams.
I swapped out, I was like, the Cowboys are playing the Rams. They got Puka, they got Cooper Kupp. They're a high-powered offense. I'm gonna pick up the Chiefs because they're playing the Broncos. Are you serious? Are you kidding me, Kansas City?
Wrong day for that, huh?
The Cowboys, I load up my phone. It's halfway through the first quarter, and they have 25 defensive points. I'm like, what the hell is going on? They got.
Well, you got to pick them whenever Taylor Swift's there.
I know. I didn't know Taylor. It wasn't confirmed. I saw the reports. They said she might make it to Denver. She might not. Guess her plane got grounded because Travis Kelce, I think he still had like 100 yards. He got me like 10 points. But the Chiefs sucked. Mahomes looked like, he couldn't. His Sky, what's his name? Sky Moore, is that the wide receiver? He in the end zone, wide open, threw his hands. Looked like Mahomes wanted to shoot him. He was like, "You've got to be." That was to tie the game. He was like, "You've got to be kidding me." So, Sean Payton, he's figuring it out. Wade, you still hate him, or is he your new favorite coach in Denver?
He's figuring it out, and Russell Wilson looks like, he can last the year as their quarterback. If anybody would trade for him, I think they would still take that offer. But maybe they're turning the corner a little bit. This team was not expected to be a cellar dweller. They weren't expected to be winning the AFC West or even beating the Chiefs. But they could, end up at 7-10 or something like that.
Yeah, it's I don't think I agree with you. I don't think Sean's getting them a winning season. Just because of this May that it's in. I think after this season, what is Russell's contract? I know it's probably guaranteed money and it's like probably 5 years or something, but
yeah, I think he probably has at least 2 more years.
I bet you they wish they had Drew Lock. He's the man's a genius. He raps during the games. Russell's just thinking about future the whole time. He can't focus on his wide receivers, but you said Vikings, they lost their quarterback Kirk Cousins. He needs to get on that Aaron Rodgers recovery method. Whatever Rodgers is doing, Kirk needs to start it immediately. If I'm the Vikings, Jay Jettis, you're sitting out the rest of the season. We're not risking anything. We're tanking for somebody. There's already talks of getting rid of Kirk. It probably affects Jordan Addison's fantasy. Tyler, I was getting ready to start the man, and now I don't know. He's got, who's their backup quarterback?
Jaron Hall is going to be the rookie
Who?
quarterback from BYU. Jaron Hall. He's a BYU rookie quarterback. They also have Nick Mullins. I wouldn't be
Okay,
shocked.
so miss.
But his injury designation wouldn't be till week 10. And of course, that would be the time that they play the Saints. So we might see Nick Mullins going up against the Saints defense.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, not having Kirk Cousins out there definitely hurts pretty much everybody on the Vikings, even Alexander Madison. Madison is definitely involved not only in the running game, but also the receiving game. So definitely going to hurt Jordan Addison. But man, Jordan Addison is like one of those rookie. He's definitely one of the best rookie wide receivers to get in fantasy football right now. So definitely going to hurt not having Kirk go out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys that he's getting all the volume. I'm talking about Jordan Addison. So it's almost like you got a rookie quarterback or potentially like a Nick Mullins that just want to go to a guy that they know is going to catch the ball. Just like D Hop and Will Levis. That one's on me. Bench D Hop. He gets 3 touchdowns, 180 yards. Like, you seriously, Will Levis? Everybody told me you were trash. I
He
saw.
still is.
Hey man, he looked pretty dang good. He broke up with that girlfriend of his. She's like dating Morgan Wallen now, apparently. So I guess he's got something to prove in Nashville that he's going to be their guy. But if I'm Minnesota, I mean, what do y'all think? The trade deadline's tomorrow? Should I try to grab a quarterback or like maybe a Ryan Tannehill? Well, I mean, I know he's hurt, but he's not torn Achilles hurt. Or do you just tank and take Caleb Williams next year?
I think you just tank and try to make this a transition from Kirk Cousins to whoever that rookie quarterback is, and really it wouldn't even look like tanking. And who knows, maybe Jaron Hall is the next Brock Purdy, and you luck into something. So you give him a look, and if he's not it, no harm, no foul.
I mean, it could be like Taysom Hill. He's from BYU.
I watched him in college. He's not that good.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he'll prove us all wrong. But I don't think Cam Akers is also going to warrant a start on my fantasy team going forward. Let's see. Some other Joe Burrow. Give the man the Super Bowl.
He's back.
Demolished the 49ers. I mean, wasn't even a close game. Well, I guess it was a close game, but Joe Burrow is back. You saw Jamar Chase was like, I told y'all he's coming back. He's back. He's playing with swag. The Bengals look great. Defense looked pretty good. Jamar stole 10 catches, 100 yards. Like, I mean, all you got to do, I mean, you could tell the injury was the biggest factor. And that's what we were saying. We weren't saying Joe Burrow sucked. We were saying Joe Burrow was just not Joe Burrow. He wasn't Joey B. He was Joseph Burrow, the not superstar. Okay, now he put on his Superman costume and he's rocking and rolling. So, Tyler, how do you feel about the Bengals?
Yeah, I feel really good about them. That was definitely a huge win. Man, the 49ers, I don't know what happened to them, but they lost 3 straight, and the Seahawks are now leading that division. So that's definitely going to be fun to watch to see if Seattle can pull through or the 49ers can bounce back because they definitely need this bye week. Brock Purdy definitely looked like his Iowa State self, like I told y'all. He did not play like the quarterback that he was, but man, very impressed with this Bengals team. I know that the slow start was all about Joe Burrow's injury, being out that much, in the offseason heading into training camp, and then he missed out on the preseason. So he's starting to play to himself, but man, that defense is starting to play to their potential too, and the offensive line is starting to gel. And then Joe Mixon, he had himself a game against one of the best rushing attacks in the league, got himself a touchdown. So they got a big one on Sunday. They got to face off against Josh Allen and in the Buffalo Bills. They've been an up and down team too. So this could definitely be a huge factor, with the Chiefs losing. Whoever wins this one could definitely be in that contention for a possible 1 seed.
Yeah, it's crazy to see the Bengals defense do good when you cut loose Eli Apple. I think he was cancer in the locker room, man. Just get rid of him. And I saw he's playing somewhere now.
He's on Miami.
Is he? Okay. That's interesting. How about Jalen Ramsey coming back, getting a pick, and then Mike McDaniels was upset because it wasn't a pick 6, it was a pick field goal. He's something else. Mike McDaniels. I saw a Halloween costume of a little kid dressed up as him, and they were filming him running across the football field, and the little kid just takes off running. Seen some some Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift costumes. Those were interesting.
You'll
I
see
said-
one tomorrow.
Been a
Okay,
popular
Wade.
one.
Hey Wade, where's your fantasy shirt at? You got
I
it with
wore
you? Got
it.
it nearby?
I don't have it nearby. It's in the other room. I wore it
Oh.
to dinner with Matt, Mallory.
You wore it to dinner?
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I took
For
it
those-
off. Like I switched shirts, but I
Okay.
showed up in it to surprise them.
For those listening, his shirt it's a pink shirt that says like "I suck at fantasy football" or something because Wade lost to his wife, who's superior than he is at fantasy football. She would have demolished you if I would have traded her Travis Kelce, but it was a close game and she still got off the victory. And then you had to wear it to volleyball. So how did that go? Have you worn it to volleyball yet?
Well, I did not wear it to volleyball because Elise got secondhand embarrassment from me wearing it.
There you go. So you just flipping it on her.
And I said, okay, fine, I'll wear it the next day because we were scheduled to have dinner with Matt and Mallory and Lyndon, and I was like, well, they're all in the league, so they'll find this to be funny, and got some good laughs out of it, but did not wear it into the restaurant.
Where did y'all go eat?
BJ's. So it would have been
definitely should have worn it into BJ's.
It would have
been
acceptable.
great. That would have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Excuse me, can I get a Pizookie, please? Also,
nobody would have batted an eye in there.
Yeah, no, that would have been great. You should wear it to Seven Brew when they have some big guests coming. I won't say who they are. She probably hasn't announced them, but big guests in the future.
That would be who I want my photo with.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Now you're talking. If you're in the Baton Rouge area, be on the lookout for Seven Brews.
Like a step up is if you would have to wear it to a LSU football game.
Oh,
Because
I'm
this
coming
is
for the Florida game.
I think Elise needs to do something about this.
She copped out. She copped out. I was full on ready to wear it to volleyball, and she was like, "Our team's going to judge us."
I feel like if you get season swept, then it could take it to that level.
That's fair. I did bounce
on
back and put up 170 points.
Yeah,
you did. That you did. Let me check our league schedule here.
I just got a fantasy update. Touchdown! Oh wait, no, 44-yard pass.
So
it's 6-0 right now.
what? Oh man, I was hoping I played you next week. Going into the Florida game, and I was gonna say if I beat you, you definitely have to wear it. Tyler, you're gonna beat me, by the way. So unless Sam Laporta starts dominating.
Sam Laporta better start dominating. I don't want to lose to Jacob.
Well, so Tyler and I it's the same situation as you and Jacob. We've got a battle of the Lions going on. I have Sam Laporta, and Tyler has Mr. St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and also their kicker, Patterson.
Well, yeah, Detroit's on the bye week next week, so it's an automatic L for whoever I face next week.
Yeah, I missed you by a week. But my team.
Well, Jared Goff's
same in the
quarterback.
Same in the other
There's
league.
that.
CMC and Amon Ra's on the bye.
Wait, what's up with Goff? Is he hurt?
No, I'm just saying that's my guy the rest of the year in
Oh.
an 8-man league. That's not very
Gotcha.
good.
Yeah, no, you got it rough there, buddy.
Looks like you need to call up whoever has Tua.
That would be you.
Hello?
We're doing a live trade. What do we got here? What are you
Might
going
be. I mean, I'm at this point.
We'll have to look at it.
No. You got to do it right now. Here, I'm going to list out. I'm going to propose the trade.
Oh
for
my
y'all.
gosh!
I shouldn't have dropped Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Mikey picked him up. I saw that because he
Trevor
had.
Lawrence
I believe he had Geno. He had Geno Smith, and then I believe it was Joe Burrow. He was struggling, and I guess he decided to bench him, but he might flip that and start Joe Burrow before.
Okay, so Tyler has Tua Tagovailoa. I said his name right. Wade would like to propose Gus Edwards and Saquon Barkley.
I don't need running backs.
Yeah, he has a lot of running backs.
That was a joke. How about Calvin Ridley and
I might be talking now.
Rashee Rice from Kansas City?
That would probably move the ball.
Okay.
I still have to have people to catch the ball, Chet.
That's true.
Well,
you can't just have Devontae
the
Adams.
guy on the bottom left of the screen is not coming back this year. And I should have
you're
dumped him off to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had your chance. Okay. For Tua, he'll trade you Rashee Rice and uh, Gus Edwards.
Yeah, I would take that, but Tyler's not going to.
I'll take Gus Edwards off your hand.
Hell, Gus Edwards stole all Lamar's touchdowns.
That's true. It would give you backup insurance
We would.
on the goal line. So
We
maybe
got-
we'll talk after the
You know,
show.
Lamar's not getting rushing touchdowns. It's got to be Gus Bus.
Exactly. We've got live trades happening here, people.
I
Uh,
Might
might
happen.
consider that.
Yeah. So, but let's see. Other NFL, like I said, I watched Red Zone a little bit in the afternoon. So that was good. Wade, I'm gonna need you to move that way a little bit. There you go. You're back in frame. You were off the camera for a little bit.
Oh, look, another field goal by Riley Patterson.
Oh my gosh. He had only had 7 all year, and then now they can't get it in the end zone.
Yep.
Against the Raiders of all teams. Like, come on.
Yeah. Is Jimmy G their quarterback right now, or is he out with a concussion still?
I don't know.
Yeah, he
clear
is playing.
protocol. Okay.
Jared Goff saw me put that bet on him to throw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Well, Jared
And he was
Goff has
like,
154 yards, and 88 of those have gone to Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
Well, I need him
Amon-Ra-
to find the end zone.
Amon-Ra actually was questionable, and I thought
Amon-Ra
I
is my
had
Lord
hope.
and Savior.
He has a sickness, so it's his flu game. Just
Got a
like
copper
Mr.
jersey of him.
Rashid Shaheed, the Saints that we mentioned the Saints earlier. They all had like the flu. Rashid 3 catches, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's
Alvin Kamara said they all had the shits.
while their team was playing like shit, and I guess they got the shit.
Does
so now it's
Olave
out of their
have
system.
that too, or
Olave's just got. I think he's got pink eye because he can't.
he's got to
see.
use the same speed, and when he's not on the field, and put it on the field.
Exactly. He needs to be driving fast and running fast. Or I saw somebody commented. It was like some old fan was like, "Well, he should take that gosh darn visor off. He's playing inside. What an idiot!" And it's like, well, I mean, I guess he's got a point. It's a dark visor, and it hit him square in the face. So, I guess you can't see can't catch what you can't see. So, Tyler, you got your fantasy football
Yep,
lined up for us this week? I
sure
didn't listen
do.
to you. You said the bench Rashid, and I
Okay.
was like, "Damn, what am I doing?" I
We
started
missed
on.
1 or 2. We can't be perfect every week.
I know, but it ended up working out for me. My bench D-Hop, that didn't work out. Like I said earlier, Will Levis decided to go like super mode, and become. I mean, he played better than he did in college. So
Yeah.
all right, what do we
Okay,
got?
I might
for
have
us?
to trade for Tua.
Oh yeah.
This was all pre-planned.
No,
here,
this was
Wade.
not. Honestly, I didn't even think about possibly trading Tua, but that would be off the air if we do that. But let's go on now. It's week number 9. Fantasy football. I've just looked on the ESPN app, and they already got their playoff clinchers. So if you're on the road to the playoffs, it's time to lock in. And if you're really needing of a win and trying to get off of that losing skid, definitely look forward to this. I'm here to help you, give you some advice. So let's go on to the quarterback start of the week. This is an interesting matchup. This is in Frankfurt, Germany, between 2 high-powered offenses. I know that the Kansas City Chiefs coming off of a so-so game, but I think that they're going to bounce back. I expect this to be one of the best games of the weekend, along with the Bengals and the Bengals and the Bills this weekend. So I'm going to be starting Tua Tagovailoa. Had 3 touchdowns and over 324 yards. The Chiefs secondary has shown their growth this season, but man, they had a rough go against the Broncos. Russell Wilson was down and out, but 3 touchdowns against the Chiefs secondary. With Tua, the weapons that they have, Tyreek has been unstoppable. Jalen Waddle also coming off of a big game, and then Raheem Mostert has also been a threat out of the backfield. So I think that this is going to be, a high-scoring game, probably a 34-31 type of game. So I think that both quarterbacks will get their fair share. But we're going to be riding with Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins quarterback to get the job done. So he's my quarterback start of the week, and what's going to be a fantastic matchup to watch early in the morning in Germany. So let's go on now to the running back start of the week. And boy, I love this matchup. Alvin Kamara going up against the Bears defense. And if you've been watching the Bears defense, honestly, if you saw Austin Eckler, what he did, I think that Alvin Kamara can do the same. So Kamara coming off of a really big game against the Colts defense that struggled to contain the Saints offense. 2 total touchdowns for Kamara. One of those coming on a sensational receiving touchdown to get the job going for the Saints, 59 yards on the ground. 27 fantasy points. That's definitely what you're looking for. And man, Alvin Kamara is definitely giving fantasy owners a boost. He missed out on 3 games at the start of the season due to suspension. He's really flourishing in the Saints offense. That is going to be improving down the stretch. And this is definitely one of the best matchups that I'll face all season. Definitely going up against a Bears defense, a rush defense that really struggles. So give me Alvin Kamara. I think, with CMC on the bye week, I think that Alvin Kamara is going to be the RB1. I'll go ahead and say that this week. I think that he's going to be the top fantasy running back at the start this week against the Bears defense. Let's go on now to the wide receiver start of the week. And this man has been cooking. This is a tough matchup going up against the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb is also coming off of a good game. I would start CeeDee Lamb too, but A.J. Brown has really been on consistent mark. I feel like every game that you watch, he's scoring a touchdown, coming off of a good game, 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. I expect this one to be an absolute barn burner of a game between the Eagles and the Cowboys. So I think that both of the star wide receivers for respective teams will get their fair share. So give me A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts, he started off slow in that game against the Commanders, but in the bounce back and the comeback against the Commanders, A.J. Brown feasted against that defense. With the injuries that the Cowboys have in the secondary, I think that A.J. Brown will have his fair share. So start him this week against the Cowboys in what should be a fantastic matchup in the NFC East. Let's go on now to the sits of the week, starting with the quarterback position. We're going to be going with Geno Smith. Geno Smith coming off of a not so great of a performance. If you're rolling out him as your quarterback one, this is definitely not the numbers that you're looking for. 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and only 15 fantasy points. The Seahawks are going into a rough environment. This is a very good matchup for both teams. The Ravens are 6-2. The Seahawks are 5-2. Battle of first place in their respective divisions. But this is a tough Ravens defense. The Ravens defense coming off a very good performance. I know the Cardinals are one of the worst teams in the NFL with Joshua Dobbs as their quarterback, but Geno Smith can't really trust this offense. Not going to be many points scored between these two very good defenses. So Geno Smith, leave him on the bench this week and wait for a better matchup. Let's go on now to the running back sit of the week, and it is going to be Najee Harris. Harris has been a very question mark this whole entire season. I know that he had that 1 touchdown. That was a fluke. I don't think that that's really going to
one
happen
touchdown
anymore anytime soon. But the Steelers offense is just, you just don't know who's going to be that playmaker. This past weekend was George Pickens. He scored a touchdown this week, but don't really like the matchup this week. It's a very tough one on Thursday night. So if you got Najee Harris, you got to sit him. It's a Thursday by matchup. So leave him on the bench against the Titans defense. Their rush defense is one of the most potent ones in the fantasy landscape. Jalen Warren, the way that he's been going, it feels like the Steelers are just slowly increasing his workload and decreasing Najee Harris. So can't really trust Najee Harris this week, especially against a tough defensive line of the Tennessee Titans. And the Titans are coming off a very good performance, so I expect the Titans to come to play once again against the Steelers. Okay, let's go on now to the wide receiver sit of the week. And boy, this offense, I don't know what's going on, but we're going to bench Christian Watson.
Jordan Love, too.
Yeah, bench Jordan Love, bench Aaron Jones, pretty much bench everybody of the Green Bay Packers. Can't really trust them. That offense has just gone to poop at this point. So they got a Rams defense, that needs a bounce back. They got crushed by the Cowboys. The Cowboys put up 40 points on them. I don't expect that to happen in back-to-back weeks. So Christian Watson only 3 receptions, 33 yards. Like I mentioned, Jordan Love, he's just been off ever since that Saints comeback. So I probably don't trust anybody. This is probably going to be one of your lower scoring matchups of the weekend. I expect the Rams to come in here and probably pull off this win. The Packers, I can't just really trust their offense. So bench Christian Watson. So that is your starts and sits heading into week 9 slate of the NFL.
You mentioned AK, Alvin Kamara, and probably the number 1 running back this week with CMC out. Do you see the tweet this past weekend with their stat comparison since they both come into the league? Almost identical.
Mm-hmm.
That's honestly, that shows how slept on Alvin Kamara is, in my opinion. I mean, I drafted him in like the 4th round of fantasy. I know he was suspended, but that's pretty wild. They both missed time with injury, so you can't say one has played more games than the other. Alvin's probably played a couple more, right? But it's still pretty crazy
I
how
mean, that factors into your value as a running back is your ability
right,
to stay healthy. So,
and
I mean,
not
that's
kick people in
points
the
for
head
Alvin.
in elevators, or punch people in the head in elevators. So, and then also when you were talking about Geno Smith, sitting him, the end of the Seattle game with I've never seen. I mean, uh, they played at LSU. Jamal Adams like headbutts the ball to cause an interception, tip drill off his helmet, and the Seahawks take it away and get the win. So that was pretty cool to see. But let's get to some dog of the week. We'll see if we got any comments coming in for it. So here we go. Who got that dog in them? If you're watching, leave us a comment, Matty Ice. If you're watching, leave a comment for who got that dog in them. Rushing touchdown scored by Josh Jacobs. Thank you,
I was
Josh.
about to say you would like that.
Yeah, maybe I'll pick him. But let's go with you, Wade. Who's your dog of the week?
All right, I'm gonna go with AJ Brown. Quietly, I think AJ
Yeah.
Brown has asserted himself as probably the second best wide receiver in the NFL this season. I know that Justin Jefferson got off to a very hot start, but we all know that Tyreek Hill has been killing it. But AJ Brown is right behind those guys, I think, and at this point has surpassed Jefferson in most categories. He's got like a 3-game stretch now where he scored 2 touchdowns in each game and putting over 120 yards receiving in each of them. So that's just flat out dominant. We haven't really seen that out of anybody in recent years. And keep in mind, this team likes to run the ball a lot, and they have Devontae Smith. So for him to do what he's doing is very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, half the time Jalen Hurts is doing a little tush push. Did you see the Commander stopped it?
Yeah.
Yes,
It stopped
is
it on the
beatable.
goal line. I
It
think
is
they ended up
beatable.
scoring the next play, but that's take notes, Steve.
No, they fumbled it.
Really?
Yeah.
They fumbled it on the next play. They went with a traditional handoff for the first time ever, and Kenneth Gainwell fumbled it.
Well, that's why you just gotta keep going tush push.
But
Can't
hey,
stop
it's a
everything.
copycat league. Somebody will
Yep.
take that and work with it, and we won't have the tush push anymore.
Well, I think what happened is they had a guy come over the top. I mean, you got your defensive lineman go low with the offense and just have your middle linebacker just run through it and hit Jalen Hurts as hard as he can. I mean, that's how Brock Purdy got a concussion. Tyler, who's your pick for dog of the week?
Yeah, before I get my pick, though, I mean, I could have went with Ollie Gordon again. Last week, I picked him. He had 280 yards. This week, he had 270 yards. So the man has just been absolutely cooking for Oklahoma State. But I'm going to go with a guy that likes to put mayo in his coffee, and that is Will Levis, the quarterback of the Tennessee Titans. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that you were going to go with
I think we were all considering
but you could have went with D-Hop. I'm going to go with Will Levis. So, I mean, what a sensational rookie starter was. I think that moving forward, Will Levis is going to be their guy, and Ryan Tannehill might as well just pack his bags and head on up north to Minnesota at this rate. So 19 for 29, 238 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 of those going to D-Hop. So that D-Hop Will Levis connection is strong.
Had D-Hop in 2 leagues. Didn't start him in either.
That is just start him from here on out.
That's because we bullied you all season about him.
I know. I was going to pick Will Levis for having that dog in him with his ex-girlfriend in attendance. Said, I don't need you no more, ho. I'm balling out. I mean, the dude, 4 touchdowns.
You can make him a double dog.
Yeah, well, I got a better one. Mr. Joey B. Joe Shiesty, Joe Burrow is back, proven to the world. He's still him. I think he had an 87% completion rate. Only threw like 4 incomplete passes. Jamar Chase always open. So Joey
Higgins never open.
Yeah. He had that one.
He got worked in there a little bit.
Yeah.
Not what I want.
It was actually, I think it was the play to T. Higgins where he broke like 4 tackles from the 49ers D line, spun away, hit him for a first down. So my pick's Joey B. I mean, football's better when he's healthy, right? Yeah. So I mean, we all had NFL guys. That pretty much wraps up our NFL. But wait, there's more. We got Building That Bankroll brought to you by our friends over at Wolf Spread. Here we go.
It's time for Building That Bankroll.
Cha-ching. Let's check in on our wolf spread
We have to
competition in the
I was doing so
NFL.
good until Sunday Night Football.
until the Ravens screwed me.
Well, while I get this pulled up, if you haven't downloaded Wolf Spread, it keeps crashing on my iPad. It's probably just a me problem. Head on over to the App Store, download it, and yeah, I'm gonna need one of y'all to pull it up because I can't
All
open
right.
Wow.
Well, as a
But-
recap, Joe took the cake at $634.
Nice. I don't know
Joe's
who you
rolling
are,
big
Joe.
money,
four ways,
people.
too. He's got that boost.
Oh,
Yeah,
let me rephrase it. 634 wolf bucks.
Yes,
Ah.
there we go. Wolf Bucks.
Chet had, interestingly enough, 326.
Nice.
I had 326 until the Bears screwed me over, and I
Same.
ended up at 106.
Okay.
So I could have tied Chet. Tyler kept it at -68. Jacob didn't play, and we
Who are
have a
the
new
Bears and the
player
Ravens?
named Shira. 0 as well. So
Okay. Well, that's okay.
Well, I
So-
think I actually saw that if you don't bet, you get -1,500, so you don't win if you don't place a bet.
Yeah.
You have to,
Jacob
put
was
down
even.
at least 1,500 a week.
Ah,
All right.
Okay, that's how they get you.
So Jacob
1,500
cannot
fake
win.
money.
So ha.
all right. Well, then Jacob is in 4th place.
Okay. Yeah. No, I picked 4 games, $500, and I just rock and roll. Right.
I do
Just
I
too.
kind of did
$200.
that with $200. I did 8
Oh.
Yeah,
or
I should have
10
just
200s.
put more. Just put more on the Bengals.
I
that's
placed
where I
the
wanna hold
over, the money line, and the cover.
Okay.
You hit all 3.
Yeah,
Okay. Good job.
All right.
Good job there, Wade.
I didn't do it in real life.
You should have. This is real life. It's just Monopoly life. So bets this week for the NFL. Tyler, what you got? Let's start it off with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to a AFC versus NFC South, matchup here. Go with the Houston Texans to cover the -2.5. I don't know what is going on with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They look lost on offense. So I'm gonna go with CJ Stroud and the boys to get it done. This might be biased. I'm rooting for the Bucs to just keep on losing, but I'm gonna go with the Texans to cover the -2.5.
Okay, they're favored by 2.5. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're at
check.
home.
I'm keeping tally of this for when we put out the nice little graphic. So Texans 2.5. Wade, who you got?
All right, I'm gonna go with a road underdog to win outright. That's right, the Commanders' money line against the Patriots. There is no reason why the New England Patriots should be favored in a football game.
Yeah,
They
they're
can't
pretty-
move the football.
pretty bad.
And the Commanders, I mean, Sam Howell's playing really well. He's almost worked his way into fantasy consideration. And I think that the Commanders, I would take them as the money line. You get better odds. I think they'll win this game. But at +3, you could take the points as well. And even if they lose by a field goal, you would push. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But we're not here to push, Wade. We're here to win money. So money line
Tush
all
push.
day, baby.
Tush
Yeah,
push.
the only pushing we're doing is on our tushes. So I'm going. It's going to be a shocker because we got 2 very high-powered offenses playing in this game in Germany. I'm
Oh,
going Dolphins Chiefs under 50.5
what?
because have you seen a high-scoring matchup?
Yes,
across the
but
season?
I like
because
a
they're not going to
high-scoring
let
matchup in
Mahomes
Germany.
travel with the flu.
on,
They're going to
you mean-
deport him.
Taylor Swift's not going to be there.
Oh,
You think she goes to watch him
No.
play in Germany? No,
nope,
shot.
unless
Does she
she's
not
going
have
on
a
a world
passport?
tour, she ain't going to Germany.
Exactly. So I'm betting on the under basically because time difference. They're gonna show up sluggish. I mean, everybody has. The Chiefs, I know they just lost to the Broncos. You're like, well, they got to bounce back. But if Taylor Swift is not in attendance, hit the under. If she's there, I'm betting the over. So wait a little bit. All right, see if that line moves. If you're really
See if
feeling the
Taylor's
under.
going.
Hey,
Taylor's
bonus
going-
bet over Cowboys and Eagles, whatever it is. I think it's 46. Yeah, that's going over too.
I mean, the Cowboys defense is looking pretty nice.
I'd probably take the under in the
They
Ravens.
sold up
Seahawks.
20.
That's true. 47, yeah.
I don't know what yeah.
So what was it, Tyler? What game?
I would probably say under of the Ravens and the Seahawks. I think that's going to be a low scoring game. I mean, the Titans and the dang Steelers, that's going to be a low scoring game right there. So whatever the under is, probably take that too.
It's at 35.
Oh,
Oh my
well, maybe
gosh.
not.
The Iowa
Seahawks
game this
is
week is at
43.
29.
Jesus. Who they
29?
playing? Northwestern?
They're playing Northwestern, yes.
Oh my gosh.
And it's at Wrigley Field.
It's going to be
Ooh. This
I
could be
think
more.
they can only kick field goals going one direction
What?
because there's not enough room in one of the end zones to have a field goal post.
So they're gonna make them like flip? Are they?
Yeah.
Or can you only go?
They did
One
it
direction.
2 years ago. They did it so that you could only go one way on offense, and the only way that you could score in the other end zone was on a turnover.
That's wild. Okay.
It's going to be a baseball score. It'll be like
Well,
5-3.
They might have fixed it. That
Iowa's-
was before they did the renovations at Wrigley.
Iowa's offense coordinator stepped down
Yep.
today. So
He didn't
maybe-
meet the threshold that he had. It was 325 that he had to meet at the start of the season. Not even close. I don't even think they're at 200.
he had to have 325 points by the halfway point of the season.
No, all the season.
Oh well, there was no way he was meeting that.
No,
Oh well.
I don't
there you
think
go, buddy.
they've gotten 325 in the span of 3 years.
I don't think
If
they got
I'm-
325 yards.
If I'm him, I'm hitting the under going forward in every single game, just betting it. So college football. What do we got here, Tyler? What do you got for us?
Yeah, I was between two here. I'm going to go out west, though. I'm going to go with Arizona plus 2.5. I think I'm going to take it further in wolf spreads. I think that they went out right. UCLA going on the road. If you haven't watched this Arizona team, they are very, very good. They have 3 losses, but they're coming off of a very good win at home against Oregon State a couple of weeks ago. They beat the doors off Washington State. So their backup quarterback is really
He's
really,
something else.
He's really good, and their defense can get after you. So I think that UCLA is in for a rude awakening. This is at 9:30 our time, so stay up and watch this
In
one
the
and make
morning?
some money. No,
Oh,
at night.
in the evening. Okay, Pac-12
Come on, this
after
is
dark.
Pac-12 after dark. What do we? So give me Arizona plus
Pac-12
2.5. If you
before
wanna
dark.
take it a step further to get you some more money. Get that money line.
I thought when you said 9:30, I was like 9:30 in the morning. What? Big noon kickoff in California? Wait, who do you got for us?
All right, I'm going to go with something that seems painfully obvious, but, Vegas is never wrong. I'm going to take Notre Dame to cover the 3 points against Clemson. I know it's a road game, but Clemson just looks horrible. Notre Dame won by 50 this last week. So, yeah, I think they can win by at least a touchdown.
Dang, they're only 3-point favorites.
I think it
That's
moved
called
up
a carrot.
4.
That's called a
Yeah.
carrot. It's dangling right there in front of you, and
Where's
then
it at?
Clemson's going to win.
It's in Clemson.
Oh, well, yeah, I'd still take Notre Dame. I'm going to the Armed Forces Bowl that we have coming up here this week. Excuse me. It's Air Force and Army. Air Force is favored by 18.5. After watching Army get shellacked by LSU, I know Air Force is no LSU offense, but they have a pretty high-powered offense this year. Give me Air Force minus 18.5.
Yeah, and
Cover
Army
those
just lost to
Black Knights.
UMass, so
Yeah, I watched enough of that game. I know they were playing LSU, so you can't fault them too much. But 18.5 from Air Force is ranked number 17, so they have to be playing very good to be ranked that high, considering their strength of schedule and whatnot. So I think they're undefeated, aren't they?
they are
Like,
8-0.
Yeah,
And
we
they
might
could
have.
make
They're on
the
the
New
people.
Year's 6.
They're going to be a New Year's 6.
There you go. So that's our best bets. Ride with us, fade us, whatever you want to do. Doesn't hurt my feelings as long as you join our Wolf Spreads app, join our league. We're getting wait, what's the update on the college football? We had like 12 people in there.
Yeah, the college football.
we got some more guests in there, more listeners. So keep it coming. Keep
a
it
little
coming.
bit more action over there. Joe is a double champion this week. He won that one as well.
Nice.
And the 4 of us probably don't need to have a sports talk show. We were all in the negatives.
Well, I
Um,
said my best bet was Florida, so I own up to that one. That's
what I try to do. I was betting on whatever I was trying to ride with the boys.
Yeah.
I don't know what so I rode with Jacob. and Air Force. I think Air Force covered. Florida obviously didn't. Wisconsin barely covered. It was 14 and a half. They went by 14. I was like, please do not kick a field goal or give anything up.
Yep, that was a good one, Tyler. That was a good one. Yeah, the
I don't
Florida
know
one
what
was a
way
bad
it
beat by me.
that is.
And Jacob also finished in the negatives, and Neil finished in the negatives. So Neil listened to us a little too much on the show.
Sorry, Neil.
Get him
Find
back.
out who this Joe fella is and start betting with him because he's winning everything. I think he's the founder of Wolf Spreads. I think that's who I've been messaging on Twitter. So there you go, Joe. You're kicking our butt. He's probably he's manipulating the numbers, man. He writes the code for the app. But let's get into some college football talk. We've got a big one coming up this week, and Jacob, Penn State looked very bad against Indiana. So you don't get to talk since you're not on the show. We're not going to talk about them. But they look great. We're going to preview LSU Bama, big week coming up. We had Bayou Bengal Bites come out today. So if you're watching, go watch that after the show where Tyler and I dove in depth onto that one. But it's a high-powered offense versus a pretty high-powered defense, and then a very hurt LSU defense versus a mediocre Alabama offense. So it's always the game of the year. It holds the future of the SEC West in its hands because I don't think Ole Miss is going undefeated. I actually think they are going to lose to Texas A&M this weekend. Bold take there. That's my upset pick. So I'll mention that when we get to the upset picks. But I think the Tigers' offense is going to be too much for the Crimson Tide. So what do y'all think?
I agree with you. I called for a big day for Jaden Daniels and Brian Thomas as my X Factor player of the week. And I think that Alabama's defense is really, really good. I think that their defense actually was kind of their weakness a year ago. So they really have shored that up. But this offense is just very one-dimensional. I know LSU has some holes on defense, but I just feel like if they can get the ball enough times and they don't have any turnovers on offense, they'll be able to just keep one possession ahead all game against Alabama. I think it'll be close. I'm going to go LSU 34-31. Two touchdowns, Brian Thomas.
Tyler has the opposite, but with Alabama winning. It's at least that was his prediction on Bayou Bengal Bites.
Mm-hmm.
I said 42-35, and Alabama scores a late touchdown. And LSU
we all think it's going to take at least 30 to win.
Right. I think it's going to be a lot of points. And we're not talking a 9-6. Tyler and I talked about it earlier, Wade, about our favorite LSU Bama game. Now, you haven't been a part of a lot of them. Tyler said his was last year. I said mine was 2016 when Bama won 10-0.
You shouldn't have said something to see if it was.
Oh. Well, when Bama won 10-0 in Tiger Stadium, but that's the loudest I've ever heard Tiger Stadium.
I liked that game a lot too. That was my first year at LSU, and
that was your introduction.
Wait, didn't you go to 07 LSU Florida? That would be the loudest if you did.
Well, yeah, that game was very loud too.
I watched that one in the RV tailgating lot. I actually wasn't there at the game. But no, the 2016 game I think was the loudest for me. But sorry, Wade. Talk about when you popped your cherry at LSU.
Yeah, the 2016 game was pretty badass. But I think you guys are missing a pretty obvious one. It was when Joe Burrow went into Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama. And I was in Tuscaloosa for that game. I didn't go to the game, but it was very fun to run around the tailgating grounds of Alabama and eat all their food and throw their beers into trees and just cause absolute
degenerate. Just be an absolute degenerate.
We were running the town, and all the Alabama fans went and drank up at the bars or hidden sorrows. It was pretty cool to be in that town with Alabama losing. So.
Hey, Paul, there's some dumbass kid running around our fairgrounds throwing beer in the trees.
If you bring up the worst one, you already know what it is.
Our COVID year when we lost like
no.
TJ had like 8 touchdowns.
21-0.
Well, yeah, that too.
That one was bad. TJ Yeldon scoring.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking. I remember watching that as a non-partisan fan.
I was at that game. That's a rough one. I think it was Jalen Mills that he ran over into the end zone.
Yeah,
if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, LSU. Who was LSU's quarterback that year?
That was Menberger.
So Odell and Jarvis were out there. Yeah, that one hurts, I think, the most. That was the worst walk back from a football game to the tailgating lot that I've ever had. But yeah, 2011, that one sucked. Well, the 96 game was awesome. The national championship
I'll
sucked.
never forgive Iowa State.
Well, I'll never forgive Les Miles. Should have started Jared Lee. Half the team didn't play. Like,
Yeah, but if Oklahoma State runs the table, we blow them out in the national championship.
oh, for sure. But I mean, has-beens and have-nots. So, but no, this one's shaping up to be a really good matchup. College game day's there. It's at 7:00 prime time, in Bryant Denny Stadium. I think if LSU wins, this might be the end of Nick Saban. Hot take. What do y'all think?
I think it might be either way, just because imagine being on top of the sport for so long and then your whole job changes in the final 3 years of your career. You're a millionaire and you've done everything that you need to prove your worth for the rest of eternity in college football. I mean, there's just no reason to reinvent the wheel and risk going out, maybe not on top, but, you don't want to go out with a losing record or something just because you don't know how to play NIL.
Yeah, he's not an NIL fan. Tyler, what do you think? He's got some more gas in the tank, or are we predicting the end of Nick Saban here?
I think he's definitely got more gas in the tank, but I'm definitely curious. And whenever he retires, like, is Dabo, if you're on Shrewin, to be the next Alabama head coach, or is he going to be somebody else?
Kiffin.
Kiffin?
It's a much more.
I thought about Kirby, but he ain't leaving Georgia.
It's a safe hire. He's maybe not the best hire, but he's not going to embarrass himself, and he'll keep Alabama relevant. You can't have Alabama fall off the map right after Saban leaves.
Fisher.
Oh my gosh. No.
They might go back to Bill O'Brien, though, is the underrated move.
Really?
Well, I'm rooting for Jimbo's job this weekend because I want Texas A&M to beat Ole Miss for selfish reasons for LSU. But it's kind of like a best of both worlds for LSU. All right, Texas A&M beats Ole Miss. That's great if we beat Alabama. If Ole Miss beats Texas A&M, that just means more A&M recruits are going to be flipping right back to LSU. We just stole another 5-star offensive lineman from A&M. Jimbo's biggest miss was Harold Perkins. Not a lot of people remember that Harold Perkins was actually committed to A&M, and then he saw, this is a dumpster fire, and why do I want to go live in College Station? He's already from Cyprus. Let me go on down to Baton Rouge, where I could be a dog and just do what he does. So that'll be interesting to see. That kind of holds almost as much of the SEC West implications as LSU Bama. On the Eastern side, Missouri and Georgia. That's the 2:30 matchup on CBS. What do y'all see on there? I mean, Missouri Tigers, they're fighting, but it's just Georgia has squashed everybody that has come to play.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of the bye week, I think that Missouri will definitely be fresh and ready to be loaded. But my gosh, I mean, Georgia just absolutely cruised over Florida. Florida scored 7-0. We talked about this on SEC Talk. I said to Wade, this is either going to be a close game or it's going to be a blowout game. I think that Georgia really blows out the door here. We've seen this too many times. Like we saw Kentucky go in there and they got absolutely blasted. Missouri, they got a good offense, but I just don't think that their defense just has the answers. I mean, they gave up what was it, like 45 to LSU's offense. I think that Georgia, even without Brock Bowers, they still have the receivers and the weapons to really get after it. So I think that really Georgia cruises to this one.
Yeah, they're going to need a big game from Luther Bird III if they want a chance to win that thing. What do you think, Wade? Is between the I called it the ferns,
between the
hedges, or is it in Mizzou?
It's in between the hedges in Athens.
Okay.
I think that yesterday I might have misspoke a little bit on this one. I said that Missouri needs to just come out and sling it and punch Georgia in the mouth, but I forgot about old Cody Schrader. I think that Missouri actually could have the advantage in the ground game here. If you can establish the run against Georgia, that's something not a lot of teams have done, but no, it's not easy to do. Ray Davis did get shut down when Kentucky came into town, but if you could chew up some clock and establish the run, it's worth a shot. But if not, you abandon it quick and you do take that shot to your playmaker, Luther Burden, and you just try to go shot for shot. But honestly, I just think Carson Beck in this offense is too much. I think Georgia can afford a few, missed opportunities. I think Missouri really can't. I think they have to hit every single opportunity that they're given. And I think that goes a long way when you're trying to pull off a road upset. So ultimately, I think they fall just short. I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout. I'm gonna keep it under 2 touchdowns. I'm going to go with Georgia winning this one 37-24.
Well, Missouri has to play perfect to win. And Georgia, like you said, can have a few slip ups, and they'll probably still be fine. So the odds of them playing perfect very slim. But I'm a sucker for an upset, so give me the Tigers. Give me Missouri taking down the
Well,
Bulldogs.
then why didn't you put that pick in yesterday?
He's diversifying his assets.
I don't know.
Okay, I will give you though. You had a lot of upsets on yesterday's show, so I'll give you that.
Yes.
He put Vanderbilt on there for crying out loud.
Who did they play?
Trusting the
Auburn.
Oh, give me
If they were to
Vanderbilt.
ever get an
Trust in the
SEC win, it would be
construction zone.
against Mississippi State or Auburn.
Yeah. Let's see. So there was a point I was going to bring up. It was about the SEC, but now I can't remember. No, it wasn't. It was about Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, and the scandal just keeps growing and growing. I mean, we have Mr. Connor Stallions. What a name. Paying people to go to multiple games and video the coaches. Dave Portnoy was getting so much hate on Twitter this weekend. He was at the Ohio State game and he tagged like the NCAA and said, "Am I committing a fraud?" And he was videoing the Ohio State coaches, and people were like, "Dave, that's not how it works. You have to be, trying to relay the signals, blah blah blah." But now there's reports that he was giving it to opposing teams that they didn't want to face in the playoffs, giving it to their opponents, the signs, so that way they didn't make it to the playoffs. They're saying that's why Tennessee lost. I guess he didn't have any signs on Georgia. Well, maybe he did because they played pretty well against them. But I mean, I think Jim Harbaugh's, he's denying everything, right? But it's no secret that he wants to go back to the NFL. So I think he's just going to parlay this as like cut ties, I'm gone. But I read an article today that said that in the past, I don't remember who the coach was, but there was something similar with the suspension, and the NFL upheld the suspension. It was like a 6-game suspension. Same with one of the players. They upheld the suspension until the suspension was served and then allowed them to coach. So if Harbaugh leaves, do y'all see that happening? Do you think Harbaugh's leaving? Like, what's going on in Michigan?
I think they would uphold the suspension if he were to go to the NFL, because this is something that compromises the integrity of the game, and especially with all the betting that's going on. This is not just a college football issue. This is a NFL issue as well. Just like the players not allowed, being allowed to place bets, win on company time and all this, and Bijan Robinson not being disclosed as a sick player. I mean, the NFL takes this stuff very seriously. So if they had any idea that there was an organized ring to steal signs, I think they would crack down on it. And I think they would set the precedent by suspending, Harbaugh upon his return. If it was something academic related or something recruiting related in college football, I don't think they would care. But this is a big deal across all sports. And yeah, I think that he could look for the NFL though. I don't know which team specifically yet, but there would be a few teams interested. I mean, he's had success at that level. And if he were to make the move, it would really just be him saying, you know what, I'm tired of having to answer to the NCAA and just want to do my own thing.
Yeah, they had the trouble at the beginning of the season where he was suspended. It's really interesting that they had this like organized crime ring running underneath his nose, and he had no idea it was going on, which is just he just wants plausible deniability, right? But Connor Stallions, dude, Venmo can be private. That's where they got you. and he wrote like an 800-page Michigan manifesto. Like, what is this? Which I don't. It was like how he would take over the team and make it better. So maybe this is an inside job.
Maybe he's gonna be the head coach in 5 years.
Yeah, maybe this is what's going on. Is he's trying to get Harbaugh out so he can jump in, but not the way to do it. College football playoff rankings get released tomorrow. First ones. There's going to be some mix up, with Kansas knocking off the Sooners. Talk about a great game. Last second touchdown from Kansas to win that one. And USC's out of it, right? I mean, they barely beat California. I think they were out of it last week when they had their second loss, but that was awful.
Hey, they could pull off an upset and really shake things up on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they play
Washington.
Yeah,
so
at home.
So let's do this first. Playoff rankings, top 6. Just list them off. Tyler, who's your playoffs?
Yep. I'm gonna go. I know that the AP is out, but I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Georgia, they're gonna be the number 1 team, and there's really nothing else to say any of that. This is where it gets a little bit shaken up. I think that Florida State is going to be number 2. I think that I'm a guy on your resume and who do you play. Florida State, I think, they got to win against Clemson. That probably doesn't look too good anymore, but that win against LSU is probably one of the best wins in the country to have right now, depending if LSU takes care of business in Tuscaloosa. Number 3, I'm going to go with Ohio State. I think that Ohio State, has some of the best wins in the country right now, against Penn State. I know that Penn State had their struggles against Indiana, but they're still a top 10 team. And then Notre Dame, that win's looking better and better by the weeks. Number 3 is Michigan. If you look at Michigan's schedule, they haven't really played anybody, so I got to dock them for that. They're still a very good football team. They got some tests coming up. In 2 weeks, they have Penn State. They take care of business. Then I could definitely see them vault up. And then they got Ohio State at the end of the season. Number 4 for me is going to be Washington, I believe. I think that, Washington the past couple of weeks, has been a little dicey. They escaped against Stanford. They escaped against, Arizona State too. And then after that, I think that Oregon right there is going to be your last team at number 6. I might have skipped or
yeah. You said 4 for Washington. I was like, wait.
I think you named 5 teams in your top 4, but
yeah,
we hear where you're coming
what
from.
You meant.
Yeah,
just pump everyone back a little bit.
It's like the same teams as Neil, but flip. Whatever. Yeah, it's going to be this. It's going to be the 6 teams that you see on the screen.
Neil's got Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Washington, Ohio State.
I can't put Michigan at 2. They haven't played nobody.
That's interesting. And then Oregon. Okay. Wade, who are your top 6?
All right, number 1, I'm going to go with Georgia. I think that they locked that up with the big victory over Florida. I think they'll add on with the win against Missouri. Number 2, I'm actually going to go with Ohio State. I'm not too big on them. I did have Michigan as my preseason number 2, but Ohio State has the win over Notre Dame that people are forgetting about. And they also have the win over Penn State. So I think that's enough to get them over Michigan, who I'm going to slot at number 3. Really no fault to their own. They just haven't played anybody yet, but I think they passed the eye test. Number 4, I'm going to go with Florida State. They are undefeated, but they've kind of been up and down. I'm not so sure they could beat a team like LSU right now. I think this team has got to get back on track, and I don't think they passed the eye test. But it's enough to get into the initial top 4. And then number 5, I would put Washington, kind of like Florida State. They're undefeated. They have a couple big wins, but to me right now, they're not passing the eye test. But if they keep winning, obviously they'll make the playoff. And then to round out the 6, I'll give it to Texas. You could go with Oregon as well. 2 decent one-loss teams.
Yeah, and that Texas, both losses for Oregon and Texas were close. Like literally last second place.
I think the committee's probably going to have Texas over Oregon because of the Alabama win by itself.
Yeah. So mine's very similar. It's kind of hard to be any different right now. Georgia won. Georgia's been playing. They've been dominating SEC opponents. We'll see how they play against Missouri. I said I think I want Missouri to win. Will it happen? Probably not. Number 2, I'm going to slot in Florida State, mostly based on that LSU win, based on how LSU is playing now. And then, their strength of schedule has been a little harder than Michigan, right? So at 3, I'm going to go Ohio State. They beat Penn State, who is a top 10 team. Michigan, once again, has not played anybody. Both are undefeated, which that'll change here in a couple weeks. Number 4, Washington. I like the Huskies. I like what Michael Penix is doing. I have them in my final playoff rankings, running the table, really. So give me, they've had some dicey games, some close ones. But I'm going to go Washington at 4. 5 is where I slot in Michigan, purely based on strength of schedule. We've all said it. They haven't played anybody. And I guess you can't fault them. You can fault their scheduler 10 years ago when they made the schedule. But I mean, they didn't know how it was going to shape up. But they got Penn State and Ohio State coming up, so they have their chance to prove themselves. And at 6, I'm going to go Oregon, because I think the committee is going to look at each team, how they're looking now. Texas does not have Bo Nix. Texas does not have Quinn Ewers. Oregon has Bo Nix. Oregon looks better on a paper standpoint, even though they both have one loss, close games. But Oregon has continued to blow out teams.
Oregon just destroyed Utah.
Yeah, Texas barely beat Houston. And then last week, it was a close one for, I think, the first half. No, it wasn't. They destroyed BYU. Never mind. Wrong game. And yeah, like you said, identical scores. Texas beat BYU 35-6. Oregon beat Utah 35-6. Difference is Utah's ranked
more impressive to beat Utah 35-6.
On the road.
The state of Utah was in shambles this weekend, apparently, in college football. So that's my top 6. We got Georgia, Florida State,
Ohio State,
Washington, Michigan, and Oregon. So I'm sure it's going to change. We saw Neil's. Anybody else in the comments, let us know what they are. I got to give my flowers to Georgia Tech, though. Another upset over North Carolina and Drake May. You saw them take down Miami in the no-Neil game. And then this one, just out of the blue, Georgia Tech showed up and put bread to butter. It's like, hey, we're rocking and rolling. So sneaky good win by them. Let's look at some games going forward, though. Much-watched games. We picked our LSU Bama. Kansas State and Texas in a battle really in the Big 12. I think how many Kansas State? Let's see here. I think they only have one loss. No, they have 2. I'm sorry. But still, Oklahoma, Kansas State, Texas are kind of your tops in the Big 12 right now. Texas still doesn't have Quinn Ewers. So is this a sneaky upset from Kansas State here, guys? What do y'all think? Quick picks here.
I'm going to stick with Texas in this one. I think they still have the better football team, and I think it's going to set up for a Red River rivalry rematch in the other Dallas stadium.
Okay. Tyler, what you think?
Man, this is a tough one. I mean, 2 weeks ago, these two teams just faced off against Houston, and Texas barely survived. And on Saturday, Kansas State won 41-0. They absolutely destroyed them.
Off of them.
Not having Quinn Ewers has been tough. They're able to beat BYU. BYU is 5-2. I think that they're going to be solid. They're going to be in a bowl team. But man, Kansas State, that defense, if it can travel, I think that this is going to be a tough matchup. So give me Kansas State. Give me the upset. I think that K-State is ready to shake up the Big 12 race, and I think that they get the job done. I want some absolute chaos to happen.
Me too.
So please hurry up on this upset. So I'm going to root for one. Give me K-State.
The chaos creator is my spidey senses are tingling here.
Crystal
yes,
ball.
I have my crystal ball. I'm looking into it, and I see a Kansas State upset. Kansas State upset, and we get our first look at Arch Manning, and he sucks. Texas A&M, Ole Miss. Who do y'all got?
I got to go Ole Miss in this one. I think Ole Miss is going to set up a top 10 game next week against Georgia. And I think that the Rebels defense is starting to look really good too.
Okay, Tyler, are they
I
right?
almost thought of this as my best bets. I think that Ole Miss, you get them at home. Texas A&M's defense, we'll give them problems, but it's going to be the Quinshon Judkins show. I think that he's
They're
going to
going to
run
cover
all over
that
that
3
defense.
points.
Yeah, I think that Ole Miss wins this one and sets up a real good showdown between next week. I think that Ole Miss could really shake up the SEC race with a win next week in Athens.
I'm picking Ole Miss to win this one as well. I really want Texas A&M to win, but I'm going Ole Miss. And it's gonna be a top 10 matchup, I think. Ole Miss and Georgia. It's gonna be a prime time 2:30 SEC. What are their names? Gary Daniels and
Gary Danielson
Danielson
Brad
and
Nessler.
Musburger.
No.
What? Who the hell?
He retired.
He was the
Who you're
perv
talking
that was
about?
hitting on.
You trapped in 2013.
I hate them so much. I haven't even learned their names, Tyler. Okay.
Hey, this is your last game that you have to deal with them because you already locked yourself in. If you go,
they're getting banished to the Big Ten, and they're going to have to go do Oregon versus Rutgers.
Finally. Missouri, Georgia, another big SEC matchup. I think we all agree on the Dogs.
Yeah, roll with the Dogs.
Yeah, and then this one looked great at the beginning of the season. Was going to be probably a top 5, but not so much anymore. Washington versus USC. I think it definitely has the opportunity for Washington to score 1 billion points. Now, it's a matter of fact, if USC can, they can definitely score with them. But with how they've been struggling against weaker opponents, give me Michael Penix, man. I mean, big Penix energy all day.
Not so fast. I'm going to call the upset. Okay. USC gets back on track in a shootout and dashes the Pac-12's goodbye hopes of making the playoff on their way out as a conference. I think that we'll see Oregon and Washington have to play again, and it's just going to be a convoluted mess. And this knocks out the Pac-12.
Okay. I mean, the over/under set right now at 76, so take that as you will.
That's like 3 of the NFL games combined this week.
There's going to be a lot of points scored. Like you mentioned, both of these teams have struggled. I think that it's going to be like a 52-49 type of game. I agree with Wade. I know I picked Washington to make the playoff, but screw it. Give me chaos. USC gets it done.
They still could make the playoff if it's a close loss, but yeah, they would have to go 2-0 against Oregon. I don't know if that's.
And they have some tough road trips, with Oregon State coming up. So I think the Pac-12, Oregon is probably looking like the front runner the way that Washington. I don't know. I think that the Pac-12 and the Big 12 might play itself out.
Well, I love it. I was about to hit the upset pick alerts, but we just gave a bunch of them. I mean, are there any left to give?
There's one more. That's a little peculiar. Kansas just pulled off.
Hold on.
Now I have permission.
Okay. Yes, now go.
As you know, Kansas pulled off the upset against Oklahoma and entered the top 25, yet they're dogs on the road against Iowa State. I don't know if you call this an upset, but I'm definitely taking Kansas in that one, but they're 3-point dogs.
Okay, so Kansas to win that one.
And I like Tyler's pick earlier, Arizona. I think Arizona could beat UCLA as well in Pac-12 After Dark. That was my original upset pick.
I understand back to Kansas, they're 3-point dogs, but they're ranked. So I don't know if that could classify.
Iowa State right now, it's like 4-1 in the Big 12. So I mean, Big 12's sake, that would be an upset. You know what? We'll give it to them.
I'm just going with what Vegas says. It's
Vegas.
But I gave you my big upset. That would be Southern Cal beating Washington.
All right. Tyler, you going with your Arizona over UCLA?
No. I'm sticking it in the Big 12. Are you ready for this?
Okay. Let's hear it.
I'm knocking this team out the playoff race. Give me Ollie Gordon and the Oklahoma State Cowboys. It is going to be absolute bedlam. Give me Oklahoma State to pull off the upset. Oklahoma, bye-bye. Your chances are over.
And true, that game might not happen going forward. So yeah,
this is a rivalry game.
It is.
I don't know what it's called.
Bedlam.
Oh, duh.
Oh, come on,
yeah, Bedlam. Here we go. I don't know what that means. So, I'm
Come on, give me
looking,
the
man.
passion. Give me chaos.
I'm looking. I was gonna say Texas A&M over Ole Miss, but that just doesn't.
What
It just
about
doesn't.
Miami losing to North Carolina State
Hold
on the
on,
road?
I got one for you. They haven't played anybody. They've got no signs to steal. Give me Purdue taking down the
They're
Wolverines.
32-point favorites.
Michigan's a 32.5-point favorite, but they don't have the signs. Give me Purdue, and I don't even know their quarterback's name. They have a 2.5%
Hudson
chance of
Card.
winning. Hudson Card's going to march into the big house, and he's going to take down J.J. McCarthy, wipe him off the Heisman watch, which is an absolute joke, by the way. Jim Harbaugh is going to the NFL after this game. He's quitting Sunday
Chargers.
morning.
Send him to the Chargers.
And Purdue is pulling off the upset. They've done it in the past against Ohio State. They always come out of nowhere.
Yeah, and Michigan probably gave Purdue signs in that game.
Exactly. So give me Purdue and to take down Connor Stallions and the Michigan Wolverines this coming weekend. Is that enough energy for you, Tyler? Did you like that one?
I love it.
Neil likes Missouri over Georgia. I like that one too.
That's heart, Neil. That's heart.
That's a sneaky one. So
Pure passion.
let's see. I think that wraps up our college football talk. We can mention that it's a shame that J.J. McCarthy's leading the Heisman race. That's absolute BS. Jane Daniels, give it to him. It's just if he plays good against Alabama,
If they beat Bama, you might as well just hand them the trophy.
I mean that's his chance, right? That's exactly how it's going to happen. So, let's get to our everyone's favorite segment of the week with NASCAR Neil. I've got the sound for him. Here we go.
Start your engine!
I like it. I like it.
I forgot that we had it. I haven't played it in a while. I think we're going to have NASCAR Neil join us at the end of next week's show to recap the championship. So there, he had some Xfinity race news this week, and they had an overtime restart after a 20-minute red flag. There was a little bit of an incident between teammates Hill and Creed. Creed needed to win this one to advance, and Hill had a small points cushion. On the last lap, Creed hits him on a bump and run, hits Hill on a bump and run that results in Hill getting up the track, causing a wreck. This results in Creed and Alger, who was in third, to battle down the front stretch, with Alger getting it by 0.03 of a second. I mean, that's a photo finish if I've ever heard one. With this situation, Hill was eliminated with Custer getting by him on points. So the team's owner, Richard Childress, called out Creed for being, quote, the stupidest driver to ever race for him, along with the team's president going up to Creed and yelling at him in the face post-race for causing Hill to be eliminated. Creed has announced he's leaving the organization. So
Yeah, I would imagine so.
and then back into the cup race points, Blaney got the win today and punched his ticket to the championship for the first time. William Byron got the last spot on points, and it ended up eliminating Neil's buddy Martin Truex Jr. This is the youngest championship of forever to compete. The race played out as most short tracks do in the next gen era, with minimal passing throughout a run where pit road plays a huge role. So Truex was cutting it close there at the end, but ended up not getting it. And he had to do a pit pass, and therefore he no longer advanced. And I'm trying to see. I lost my spot. Oh, his pick for next week. Neil's official pick for the championship next week is Mr. Blaney, Ryan Blaney, to go off back-to-back second-place finishes, and therefore take the win next week. But he says Mr. Byron will be someone to watch because he won there in the spring. So we'll have Neil come on at the end of next week's show to recap that championship, of course, after we recap the LSU win over Alabama. I want to end the show on a sad note. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Matthew Perry and his family. He unfortunately passed away this weekend. Favorite Friends moment. Y'all got one to throw it off to end the show?
There's too many.
I know. Chandler Bing, he was an icon. it was tough to see that Saturday night. So I just think of the all the laughs that he's had, and someone said Gunther greeted him with a cup of coffee. So that was a nice little touch on that. So let's root for chaos this week. Let's get some upsets. Let's get some LSU wins, some Purdue, Oregon State, Arizona. I mean, the list goes on and on of who we want to see win. So we appreciate you watching this week's show, listening to this week's show. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Gentlemen, do we have anything else from the sports world?
That's a wrap.
Okay. Go Rangers. I can't believe I just said that. And go Tigers. Catch y'all next week.